Hi, everyone. This is Lisa Clayton and Bobby Bramson bringing you the new moon in Aries update for April 15th, 2018. It's my pleasure to be with you. Like I said, I'm Lisa. Bobby's going to come on in a minute. And I have a human development evolution company called Source Potential, where we are launching off a new inner leadership, whole new curriculum soon, and love working with the angels, work with them every single day. And I do a lot of heart-focused services. And that's a passion of mine, is to open up your hearts and get you connected to your purpose. And Bobby has a very similar business, different, but very similar, and that's why we're so aligned. Both of us are angel ministers, and we met through the angel ministry, and our hearts became connected immediately. And we love doing these broadcasts for you. So, Bobby, I'm going to have you introduce yourself.
Oh, hi. Hi, everybody. This is Bobby Bramson from angelhearttoheart.com. I, too, am passionate about working with the angels. And I guess my tagline is, angel medicine to transform your life and make it better. And to live from a place, like Lisa says, of heart and soul. I do what I call soul treasure coaching and healing. And just really believe that angel wisdom and angel healing energies are potent change agents to bring about miraculous alchemy in our lives. And I know Lisa is nodding her head and saying yes. So I too love working with Lisa for the same reasons she mentioned. We just have a wonderful chemistry, and we love each other, and we love the angels. And it's fun to share our love with all of you today on this Aries new moon, which has a lot of fire energy, right, Lisa?
Yes. Bobby has on her fire scarf, and we have firefly flowers, Gerber daisies too. It was interesting because Bobby and I meet a few minutes before the video, and we're like, on this fire energy. She was called to wear this fiery scarf, and I was 20 minutes before the video recording, went to the florist to find these flowers for this special new moon in Aries. So we love the synchronicities, and just listening to the messages of the angels every day has truly made a difference in both of our lives. And we would, our purpose is to help you get connected to your heart and expand it out to the angels too, because they're available 24/7, but you have to ask and invite them in. So we're encouraging you that under these astrological signs, how the angels guided Bobby and I to do these broadcasts is they gave us a direct message that it's very important to get people back into the rhythm of the planetary cycles, and that's astrology. So it's the energy. It's all about the energy and how we use the energy here on Earth. And so we were like, hey, well, let's start back into the new moon and the full moon cycles, because those are always potent for both Bobby and I. And let's share what we experience under these astrological signs. So that's what we're going to do today, is give you some information that we were guided to find and to gather. Bobby said earlier, I love Bobby has this beautiful way with words, and she was talking about how we harvest the information and how we're guided to bring in this wide array of information for you that will help in the energy also of healing, what needs to be healed and what needs to be expanded and what needs to be activated in your life. So we're excited to share this new moon update with you. So Bobby, do you have anything else that you'd like to share before we take a deep dive into the astrological aspects of this new moon?
I guess the only thing I'll share right from the get-go is that everything you said, ditto, ditto, ditto. And there's ever since Lisa and I connected on Zoom, like she said, a few minutes before we started taping, I have felt this warm energy, like a flame within my heart. And that is something that Lisa and I always have as our intention, that whenever you listen to this, that you too will be attuned to the frequencies of love that pour through. And same with the wisdom, and that it will come from you through your own filter and your own life experience, so that you can make it truly yours and integrate and ground it and use it in the world.
Oh, yes. Oh, that was beautiful, Bobbe. Thank you. That gave me a chill. So, yeah. So let's take a dive into the astrological aspects. So we're going to give you some information up front, and then we will share some angel. Bobbe was led to angel messages through her cards before the session, and mine are waiting. So it's always fun how the messages get relayed to us very differently, yet very very woven in together into this beautiful tapestry of the information we're going to give you today. So this new moon in Aries, I'm going to just take a jump in and share with you some of the information that I was guided to share with you through the angels. And then Bobbe will share her information, and then we'll do angel cards and messages with you. So this new moon in Aries is the first new moon of the astrological year. So Aries is the first sign in the zodiac, and so this is the first new moon in this this sign. And there's a couple of things that are going on with this new moon. There's a couple of other planets that are really affecting this new moon energy, and that's Uranus and Chiron. And in with Uranus, it's a really key energy because it is also in Aries, and it is ending. It'll be going back and forth for a little bit, but then it's going to be going into, it's been in Aries for the past 7 years. So now it's conjunct with this new moon in Aries, which is, as Bobbe said, she feels this heat. There's this heat going on inside of her. So this is the fire energy. So this is like, I'm just getting a chill right now because it's like kind of burning away everything that we need to let go of and shift. And now the change is coming. So we can open up now to this beautiful change. And Uranus's journey in Aries has been for the past 7 years. And so Bobbe and I were reflecting before the recording about what happened to both of us in 2011 and how Uranus affected that journey for us. And I actually was drawn to the angel ministry that year. And so there was in this fire energy, there's a lot of this new birth through the fire. I read a story about in a desert in San Diego that was burned with a fire. All of the vegetation was burned, and after the fires died down, these beautiful wildflowers bloomed, never seen before in the lifetime of our history here on Earth. And they found that these seeds that were buried deep in the sand needed intense heat to bloom. And so that's what we've been really going through with this Uranus in Aries, is this intense heat so that we can bloom into our full potential and provide the services of heart and soul that we're here to provide. So I thought that was a real key note about where Uranus is. And then the other note is that it'll be the first time as Uranus moves into Taurus. It's the first time in 84 years that it goes into Taurus, and that is going to break it up, shake it up, and have major breakthroughs. And so that's something to keep in mind now for the next 7 years, is that it's like those seeds blooming in the desert. And that's pretty exciting. So there's this new mindset perspective waiting to be born within us, ready for that, those seeds to sprout. And the trend, and you've all seen this in the news. I mean, for us living in the United States, we're going through some major changes here, and I know that other countries throughout the world are, but more people are waking up to the fact that we really want to be more of a part of a community, part of our citizens' responsibilities. So more citizenship than consuming, more stewards of the earth than using Mother Earth, and that democracy is now not even waking up, it's demanding a new awakening in more of our freedoms that tend to get taken away. We're standing up now, and we're saying the seeds we planted in the 60s are now firing, burning in us, and the new growth will come from that. So that's another wonderful intention to set under this new moon, is more of service and taking care of the earth, but really getting serious about it. We've been talking, we planted the seeds since the 1960s, so now we're ready for the change. So that was the energy, Bobbe, that I was getting, is that we've made this big shift internally within us, and now it's the time to bring forth this into change and change through action. So that's the main energy that was coming through with this Uranus. And then there was one other thing I wanted to share with you real quick, was about Chiron too. And I didn't really know much about Chiron. As Bobbe said in our last recording, we're not really astrologers, but we're being guided to be angel astrologers. And that's pretty cool, because this is new for both of us, but we've always loved astrology and followed it. And so I was like, well, I need to know more about this Chiron, because it really is considered our 10th planet. And it wasn't discovered until 1977. And so it's called a minor planet, but it has a comet, it has comet qualities to it. So you can even see a tail sometimes, and it has rings, and it's on the very outer part of our galaxy here, but it has a big effect on its energy, since it has such great energy. It's a small planet, but it's mighty. So it has a lot of energy that comes into our Earth. So this is some notes I took about Chiron. Chiron moves into Aries. And so so Chiron has been in Pisces, and it's been now preparing to make its debut in Aries. So here we have that other fire sign. So what this means, according to some really key astrologers, is when Chiron moves into Aries, our style of healing and suffering will change. So in astrology, Chiron, the glyph looks like a key. And it's like, now this key is going to open up the door. So this is a different type of energy that's going to come forth with Chiron, because it's almost like the key is unlocking this nice last 7 years, the last 8 years it's been in Pisces, and now it's going to go into this fire sign. It's kind of like letting the tiger out of the cage. So it's like, boom. And so that energy is coming into Aries. And Aries is about what we want and what we want right now. So with this new moon, with conjunct with Uranus, it's almost like this unstoppable energy. That's what I was putting down. Unstoppable, yet it can be unpredictable. So those were some of the things that came through about the Uranus and the Chiron being in Aries too. So it would be important now to really think about the seeds that you have planted over the past 7 years and how you want to bring them into transformation or into manifestation of this beautiful energy that's under the fire. So it's pretty cool. There was one other thing about Chiron, courage. So Chiron moves into Aries is a courage sign. And it moves into this courageous sign for the next 7 years. And that's a pretty major shift. So it is also masculine in nature, and it really brings out this divine warrior, this journey of our healing of masculine energy and bringing forth our masculine energy to manifest these seeds that we have planted. So that's all juicy stuff from Chiron that we get. And it's pretty major because this is a major turning point. One of the things that happens in this fiery time is that it does bring this balance up of the feminine and masculine. Many men right now, for all of you men who are viewing this video, are feeling this call to soften the masculine and bring in the divine feminine. And it was interesting, one of my friends was back in New York City at the UN Commission for the Status of Women. And you think there's like all these women and you know, they're speaking about what's happening. Well, there was quite a few men that showed up for this commission, and they're saying, how can we help? And it was a whole different type of masculine energy coming in now. And so I think that's pretty cool too. I know Bobbe has some things to say about that also. And that's what Chiron brings to us with this new moon. So those were the top hits, Bobbe, that I received and were guided to by the angels. And I know that you're going to expand on a few of those points and then bring in some things that you were guided to share. So I'm going to turn it over to you.
Okay. Wow. Top hits. Yeah, the top hits, big hits, top 10. high on the charts there. Yeah, you really very succinctly described all these amazing transits that are ending and beginning. You know, and we're very much, whether we know it or not, or conscious of it or not, we're very affected by these planetary movements. In fact, I was saying to Lisa again in our little 5-minute talk that I have been really conscious of how the things in my life, for instance, the example would be in the past month, since the past new moon in Pisces, and now here we are at the new moon in Aries, and we had that full moon in Libra in between. I have really been journaling more and keeping track, kind of like really tracking what's going on with me. What am I thinking? What am I healing? What am I unearthing and getting rid of? What am I trying to bring in? All of that. And just being amazed at how the working towards, like, as Lisa did, kind of like synthesizing all the different readings that she's gotten for the astrology right now. I was really struck by how, wow, in my life, without even knowing about it, this has been happening. And my husband Dave says this all the time. He says, "Oh, I don't care about astrology. It's happening to me anyway." And I know it, so I don't care about it. So he always finds it funny that I'm so interested in it. But it is an interesting reflection. So yeah, Chiron, just very quickly, moving through Pisces and moving into Aries. I'm a Pisces, so it's been moving through my sign. And let me tell you, it has been, talk about the master healer. That's the wounded healer. Chiron is called the wounded healer. I've had all kinds of wounds had the light shown on them for the past 7 years, like, dun, 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 dun. Here it is, folks, for you to work through and look at and not bury again, not bury again. And same thing with this Uranus transit through Aries. Since it started in 2011, I know Lisa said she was drawn to the angel ministry at that time, and both of us talk about how being a part of the angel ministry really changed our lives for the better. I was not in the angel ministry. I didn't start studying in the angel ministry till 2012, and then was ordained in 2013, which was where I physically met Lisa for the first time. But my father died in 2011, in February of 2011. So right at the beginning of the year, there was a major explosion of change for me, huge, which is still being processed and worked through, and I'm at a whole different place now. So even when I'm processing the same things, they're being reviewed in a new light. And like she said, Chiron's going to come back a couple times. I think it's coming back in the fall again. It's gonna retro back into Pisces again, and it's going to do it again, I think, in February of next year. So it's not gone yet. So we still have the opportunity to we always have the opportunity to work with these archetypes. So what I wanted to share with everybody, the things that really struck me about what's going on now, going back to what Lisa said about the Uranus and the planet. Uranus is the planet of awakening. And it's the planet of awakening. That's, to me, the best way to describe it. And sometimes in a kind of a lightning bolt sort of way, like really big. And so since Uranus is going into since it went into Aries in 2011, he's been pushing us in a very dramatic way to move beyond the roles that we acquired in our childhood or through karma, and to discover and, I guess the best word would be to activate and assert in our lives our authentic selves.
Yeah.
And like Lisa said, that's a huge transit. And we still have the opportunity here at the tail end of this, before it moves into Taurus, to continue, finish up those little places if we can. So here's what I was struck by about this Aries new moon. As Lisa said, Aries is is the fire. It's also the seed planting and the activating and the initiating energy. It's the fire of new beginnings. And we have a lot of activity with other planets like Mars right now. Mars is a planet of action, a planet of doing and taking ideas and making them concrete in the world. And Mars can also be a kind of aggravating energy. Mars is the warrior, war, the god of war. So when we have that influence at the same time that we have the Aries so up, we have to be mindful of where are we not owning and taking responsibility for our own wounds that cause us to get, I'll just list some of the ways, defensive, jealous, pushy, projecting blame. It's your fault onto other people, that kind of energy. So the archetype right now is of the child and the warrior. So I always come back to how it takes real courage. There's that word that Lisa used. That we're very supported in right now to have that courage and that fire of determination. yes, we're going to do it and nothing's going to stop me. That takes courage to look within and shine a light in the places where we've been hurt and not project it out onto the world and say, oh, you're the one who's messed up. I've got all my stuff together. Not, to quote Saturday Night Live from years ago. So since Aries is the sign of the self, this is an opportunity for us at this new moon to think about confronting our fears. And this is the kernel of what I'm trying to say. Confront our fears, and go to the places that scare us, so that we can reclaim our mighty power, our amazing power, which is our intrinsic, innate, inner divinity, which lives within us. So the other thing that I wanted to share is to just ask yourself this question at this time. How is my inner child feeling? For myself, I discovered over the course of the past 2 weeks, since the letting go during that Libra full moon, I've noticed that my inner child has had a lot of grief. And so I've needed to be again, courageous enough and daring enough and strong enough, God willing, to look at that pain and hold that child tenderly in love, at the same time that I, as the adult, say, okay, now it's time to move on, which is this energy of the Aries new moon. It's time to move on. And so I guess the last couple things I wanted to share, I know I mentioned this to Lisa, a couple things. Because Mercury is direct today, we have that wind at our back to do that work. And because it's going to be in kind of the shadow, even when it goes direct, even when Mercury, the planet of communication, goes direct after those 3 weeks or so of being retrograde, there's still this shadow. And during this time of the shadow, it's a great time to continue to review whatever's been up for you, because you're going to be given in this Aries energy new, fresh, vital insights that can help take you in a whole new direction. So, challenging aspect going on right now is Pluto is squaring Aries. So, this can bring up stuff from our past that's yucky. And it can kind of challenge us. Well, sometimes it forces us to look right at it. So don't be surprised. I'm not saying this will happen to you, but it may. So it's just kind of like a heads up to, if you start feeling funky, don't shy away from it. Again, take out your sword and your courageous warrioress and go for it. And then you may be challenged in an area that you have found difficult in the past. And I will raise my hand here and say that is so up for me in such a huge way. But now it makes sense. This is what's happening. It's like I guess I'm on target then, and I don't have to feel so crummy about it. I'm working with the universe's energies, and it's a perfect time to do it. Instead of beating myself up and saying, oh no, not again. Haven't we cleared this yet? And then finally, this is a great time to do it because Mars is trine Venus. Remember, Mars is the planet of action. Venus is the planet of love. So we can take action steps that are based in this compassionate place from love, kind of with a really deep-seated faith that we are being taken care of, but that we co-create with our own healing by doing the work and not shying away from it. So we can this can lead us to actually manifesting something really grounded in a positive, supported way. So those Lisa, are the things that I wanted to bring up in terms of the astrology.
No, it's great. I love how they are just like all weaved together into this energy of this new moon. And that's the other thing that's been coming up is this a new energy around manifestation. So, and it's really about um, the inner manifestation of what Bobby had just so beautifully described with all this work that you've been doing and letting go and examining and re-examining, and to watch that now manifest into um, a beautiful a beautiful new beginnings. And one of the things as Bobby was talking about was like, what is this going to take to really bring these seeds that we have been planting, and we've really been working on so much of releasing the past and shifting in these last 7 years. And one of the key core values of the heart that is coming through is honesty.
Oh.
And really being truly honest is what protects our integrity and also activates the other core values in our heart. So with Mercury, this Mercury coming direct today, in under this new moon, it will also, like Bobby said, and I think this was a really key point that she brought up, is that it's going to release even more information that's been hiding. Okay, so it may feel uncomfortable and it may feel a little bit shocking about what comes to light. But again, if you just trust and believe and have faith that this is something that totally needs to be brought to the surface so that it can be released, it's going to refresh. I was writing some notes as Bobby was talking. It's going to like refresh our system. It's going to rewire, renew our relationship to ourselves. So, you know, people are always like looking about their relationships with others, but this new moon really anchors in about having this new relationship with ourselves, because we can choose to do that. That's the thing that we have total control over. So it brings that freedom. The freedom comes, but it's dependent on how truthful we are with ourselves.
Mm.
And so that's what came through as Bobby was talking. I love it when Bobby and I get together, because when we have just regular conversations, she'll say something and I'm like, oh, and you know what just came through for me? We get to have these beautiful collaborative discussions about information that flows through us. And that's what we're hoping to, as we do these videos for you, that you will find other people in your tribe that you can do this to, because the more that you co-create and collaborate together, this beautiful information just bubbles. It just kind of bubbles in effervescence out of our hearts with each other. But I know Bobby inspires me when we are in our conversations, and it just, all these beautiful nuggets. Like Bobby had mentioned something about the alchemy, and it's just like becoming a part of this alchemist process when you share together. So that is the astrology part that the angels guided us to. And what we're going to go into next is getting very specific with angels that came through to bring messages for you under this new moon. So I'm going to turn it back to Bobby, because she's got a couple of angels in her pocket to bring out and share with you.
Okay, we can do it that way. Sure. I just have to say, so we're going to demonstrate now for everybody this synchronicity and magical wonder connection that Lisa just was talking about. She brought up the honesty. She talked about how freedom comes from that integrity, honesty. And when I was guided to the cards today, was guided to a deck that I do not usually use. It's this deck here called Harmony Angel Cards. It's a beautiful deck, but I very, very rarely use it. And but something is like pulling me to it. And it's like, oh no, this is not a deck I know. Do I really have to use it? Yes, you have to use it. So okay, so I went and a card fell out. Now I hadn't asked the question yet about of the intention. You know, please angels guide me to the card that will assist people on the call today regarding this new moon. Okay, so I just wanted to, this is the card that fell out. I hope,
Wow.
this is the picture on it. Can you see it? I'm going to hold it up and talk so that the camera stays on the card. So do you see there? There it is. Now, I'm not going to read all of this to you, but as Lisa was talking about the honesty thing, I went and chose the card that they guided me to. But I remembered this card, and the main thrust of this card is it's called the 8 Roads to Heaven. And the 8 Roads to Heaven comes from basic tenets that are thousands and thousands of years old. And they are through rightness of belief, speech, lifestyle, thought, actions, emotions, meditations, and divine connections. And then she goes on to ask these questions to consider this activity in your life. One of them is, are you being honest with yourself? That's the question. Are you being honest with yourself? Are you completely satisfied with your integrity and the rightness of all you do? And then she goes on to say how she stresses how this is absolutely imperative to spiritual evolution. So how fascinating is it that Lisa got that message from the angels, and then now I went and picked up this book again because I said, oh, well, then I have to share this card. So the card that came through for all of us is this card here. I'm going to show it to you first. This is Archangel Uriel, Uriel. Now, the thing about this card is that this is he is the angel of fire, according to this deck, the angel of fire and alchemy, Uranus, okay, you getting all this? And the flame orange ray. Now remember, Lisa, 20 minutes before we were getting together, she got the message from the angels, go down to the store and get some flowers to represent the energy for Aries new moon today. Go on, go do it. And she's like, I don't have time. But then she went, and what flower was she led to? The orange ray Gerbera daisy. Okay. I too, before I picked this card, this scarf. So that's just to say, so the angel of fire and alchemy, Uranus, which is, we've been talking to you a lot about that today, and the flame orange ray. This is the card of transformation, freedom, there's that word that Lisa used, and creativity. And I really don't think there's anything more that needs to be said, because the card also goes on to talk about what Lisa talked about herself, which was right at the beginning of the call. This is our opportunity to take this fire available to us and burn through the places that are in resistance, the places, the blockages. And so just call on Uriel and ask him to help you with that. And I would ask him also to be very gentle. There are different kinds of fire, aren't there? You don't need to have a blowtorch being taken to you. That's not going to feel good. But to have something maybe on a low flame where you can feel the heat and you can endure it. You know, maybe sometimes it will get hotter than you might like, but you can ask for help for it to be gentle, because he's there to do that for you. And then I got another card that came through as a message. And that card was this card, Alice in Wonderland. Okay. This card is from the Inner Child Tarot deck, the fairy tale deck. And this is the 10, which is it's related to the Wheel of Fortune, but they call it Alice in Wonderland. And I thought, what does this have to do with anything? But what it has to do with is the cycles of time, and realizing that we go through this transformative process and then return to a new place on the spiral, and that we can do it in a way that's from a higher perspective. We can look at things from a higher perspective. And I want you to notice how the card, that there's a big focus. Do you see over here the big focus on the heart? Right here? That's the Ace of Hearts. So that's the flame of love. The flame of love is the power, is the true power that runs the universe. And it's the power of transformation. And it's the power of integration. It's the power of everything. And when we let that be our guide, these journeys into these strange realms, let's face it, Alice went to some strange places, but she came back transformed. She hopefully learned something from the trip, right? This card also, according to the book, and I want to share this because I thought this was interesting. The card guides you to to explore the realm of dreams and visions that are expanding your awareness. Remember, Uranus is that planet of heightened awareness and awakening. And anticipate, and I want you all to really hear this, anticipate a turning of the wheel of fortune in your favor, and that we should be eternal optimists as much as possible, and to take advantage of the power of prosperity consciousness, because golden opportunities are coming our way. So I just thought that was really nice. It's like a nice addition to all the information we've received today. And then finally, Lisa, the two angels that came through right away regarding what's going on now were Angel Nisroch, who is the angel of liberation and freedom. Notice what color the garb is. It's orange. Isn't that interesting? Mm-hmm. And if you see, the man there is in his prison, chained, but how the angel is saying, look, I'm here. Come out this portal with me and fly into the light with me. You don't have to stay inside the prison. So Nisroch is a powerful ally. I love Angel Nisroch. Angel Nisroch is one of the seraphim angels. And Lisa and I are in the order of the seraphim. So these angels, actually, seraphim means fiery angels. So isn't that interesting? So here's Nisroch, and then the other angel is Angel Serviel, who's also looking very dapper in orange and red. And he is the angel of courage. So call on these angels, Angel Serviel, Cerviel. His number is 44. Angel of courage. And Angel Nisroch, the angel of freedom, number 32. His name is spelled Nisroc. Call on these angels. So you have three powerful, I know Lisa's going to be given some real powerful angel allies too, but Uriel, Serviel, and Nisroch. And that's it.
Sorry, Bobby, I haven't muted myself because I realized every time I said a word, the screen would come back to me and then it would take it off you. So I muted myself. So I'm like, oh, I'm so excited about your angels because I'm talking away. So we're back on live. Thank you for that, Bobby. Those angels are beautiful. And I love that it's all the orange energy coming through because the angel that flew out of the deck, Angels of Atlantis, today for this new moon was Sandalphon, and all that beautiful orange, fiery energy with tapping into under this new moon. And the message on the card is intention. And so it's really, and of course, typically new moons are about setting the intention. And so, and what do you want to see grow in the next 30 days and come to fruition? And so with this card of intention comes these messages of courage and honesty, so that these intentions are pure and set with a really strong anchor in your heart. And because it's something that what we know our heart leads us to isn't necessarily the most comfortable thing to deal with. And it really takes a lot of courage and honesty to speak our truth. And so this intention card that Sandalphon brings forth is be brave. Be brave, speak your truth, and set your intentions out there, because they are needed right now in this world today. We need warriors and warrioresses, is that such a word, to be there with us. And on the April 15th calendar from Abraham, I love Esther Hicks and Abraham, and Esther channels with a beautiful Abraham spirit. And I love what it says, because this goes along with the Sandalphon card of intention. And here it is, April 15th. It's not your job to make something happen. Universal forces are in place for all of that to happen. And that's why Bobbe and I have it in our hearts so deeply to bring forth to you the angels that are facilitators of the universal forces. Your work is simply to determine what you want. So here we are with this intention. If we were standing, and then the channeling says, if we were standing in your physical shoes, our attention would be upon bringing ourselves into alignment with the desires and preferences that we have launched. We would consciously feel our way into alignment. So there you have it. Just align with those intentions. Put your heart energy into them. I know that it will break through for you in this fiery Aries energy. I know with Bobbe and I before, we were just saying it's pretty exciting, because we have some things that are right on the cusp of being born right now individually for both of us. And we're going to be definitely meditating and journaling under this new moon energy to bring those to a manifestation from the inner power of the heart. So the other cards that I was led to aren't entirely angel cards, but they're the crystal mandala cards from Alana Fairchild. And Bobbe, you're going to just be so... And what flew out of this deck was integrity. So there... So here we have again this beautiful integrity card and speaking our truth. And this is the goddess Rhiannon, and then the crystal is Amazonite. And so it's just, again, this beautiful, beautiful energy coming through with this goddess Rhiannon with the integrity. And this goddess energy is really important. That's bubbling up in our hearts also. And so I know, Bobbe, wasn't there something with a goddess that came through earlier for you?
Yeah, what came through was that I have been wanting to embody more my own inner warrior that's there, but that to let her out and let her be much more embodied. And there were certain goddess energies that came through to me. I picked a Pegasus card from the artist set in, I can't even think of her name now, but she does these beautiful, she did these beautiful paintings. And it turns out that Pegasus is related to the goddess Medusa, who's depicted, as the scary, with all the snakes and everything, but it's about power. And so she's a very powerful ally. Talk about the honesty and the self-honesty and integrity piece. And then the other goddess that came through in another strange, synchronistic, bizarre way was a goddess Artemis, who is the huntress and who is a big ally for this claiming our power and knowing that it's okay to do it. So those two goddesses came through for me and repeatedly in different ways. So
that's awesome. It's great. Well, we're really we're closing up now on an hour. We made a kind of an we made an intention to not go over an hour, so these would be workable for you to listen to in your day. So we're going to look at wrapping up here. And one way that I was guided to wrap up, I just got this really cool new book. Just love it. It smells good even. And it's called Everyday Gratitude. And I just love this book. And I said, well, so how could we close up? And again, this is what I do, and this is what I'm guided to do. And it fell into this page. And I love this quote to end with, and then we'll have Bobbe say her goodbye too. But it's by Lynn Twist. And the quote is, when you let go of trying to get more of what you don't really need, it frees up oceans of energy to make a difference. When you make a difference with what you have, it expands. And I just thought that was a beautiful way to wrap up everything that we were sharing with you today is, let go of what you don't really need and invite in what you already have, which is this beautiful heart and soul that has so much wisdom, so much intuition, so much intelligence, and just expand that out into the world. Your gifts are needed. And so on that note, I will officially say goodbye and pass it to Bobbe to say her farewell to you today.
Oh, Lisa, that was so beautiful. I love that. I guess for me, what I'm struck by is those Gerbera daisies. So what's coming to my mind is that the blessing would be that all of us, in the planting of our seeds, remember that when we plant ourselves that way, and that with that honesty, with that integrity, with that love, with that nourishing and nurturance, the trust piece that yes, we will bloom, because that's what we're meant to do. Gerbera daisies are not thinking, oh, how can I become a Gerbera daisy? They're planted, the seeds come up through the soil and the sun and the rain, and it's Gerbera daisy-ishness do the rest. And that's all we have to do. So I send those blessings to all of you from my heart to yours for a beautiful Aries new moon and the fulfillment of your dreams.
Oh, wow, that's beautiful, Bobbe. I love that blessing. And take this beautiful energy of the Gerber daisies that Bobbe blessed so beautifully through her heart, and have fun under this new moon. It's a great one. So namaste. All is well, and so it is. Bye-bye. Until the new moon. Oh, full moon. The next broadcast will be the full moon on the 29th of April. So we'll see you then.